Okay,
Shall we
we go
start?
live in three, two, one, and we live.
Good evening. We Project XX welcome you all. We are a group of students who felt for a few causes surrounding female feticide, sex education, and various such issues. So we decided to take a step ourselves to spread awareness about the same in our generation. We aim to talk about hush-hush topics and try to help remove the stigma around it. Hence, we have started with mental health now. Today, we have Anne Maribel M. happen with us. She is a licensed psychologist, psychometrician, and a teacher with over 12 years of experience working with the Cavite Center of Mental Health. Ma'am, we are very honored to have you with us today, and we hope to learn a lot from you. So, we start our interview first with ma'am's presentation.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I hope that you are all doing well tonight or this afternoon in your time. So, I don't know what time is it now in your country, but here in the Philippines, already 8:30 in the evening. So, thank you very much, from the Project XX Foundation for having me here and inviting me as one of your speaker about mental health awareness. Thank you very much. It's just an honor to be part of your foundation and of your event. I'm so happy that you guys are working hard to spread awareness to our people or around the world with your efforts and good deeds. So I'll be discussing more or I want people to be more aware about mental health. What is mental health? So what millennials needs to know. So I'll go with my slide first. So what is mental health? So mental health is more of how you feel, how you think or act in order to face life's situation, your daily day-to-day situation or life. So how you look at yourself, how you perceive, how is your self-confidence, your self-concept, how do you look on your life? Is it positive or negative? And the people in your life, are those people are vital or important to your life? Are you grateful or not? Are you surrounded by people who are encouraging you or discouraging you? Okay, and also mental health is about how you feel and how you evaluate your options and making decisions or choices in everyday life. So later, we'll be having like an open forum after my presentation. So mental health problems has many factors that is contributed. So such as the biological factors. So number one factor is the biological or our genes or brain chemistry. This is very important, especially those who are suffering from mental illnesses. So most of the factors are biological. And also one factor is the life experiences such as trauma or abuse. If a person had experienced trauma, whatever kind of trauma or abuse that they have, sexual abuse, physical abuse, so there is an impact in their mental health. Also, family history of mental health problems in within the family. So, if your maybe grandfather has a mental illness, so there is a possibility that in your third generation or the second generation you'll be having mental illness as well, depending on how you will handle things. So it depends on how you deal and how powerful the biological factor is. Okay. So I wanted to share a little video so you could have like uh, a summary what mental health is and also to avoid the stigma. Okay. Let me stop share for a while and share again. Let me do it again.
You can't tell how someone feels just by looking at them or what they share online. To the outside world, our lives may look perfect, even if in reality they aren't. I'm always worrying about doing well at school, and with the end of year test coming up, I'm not sure how much longer I can cope. My thoughts swarm around my head, sometimes keeping me up all night. Some days it's just all too much, and I feel like I'm lost in space. When I did badly on one of my tests, I just about kept it together until I got home. Then I broke down crying in front of my mum. She listened for a bit, and then she told me that just like physical health, we all have mental health.
Sorry for interruption,
It's our
but
feelings, our thinking, our emotions, and moods. She then said that feeling down, angry, and stressed is a normal part of life. Just like it's normal to feel happy, confident, carefree
We're not
sometimes.
screen sharing.
Negative emotions that come and go based on what's happening around us. These are everyday feelings. Good mental health means experiencing negative emotions. It's not always about being happy. Mum can relate to the feelings of stress. So when Mum suggested I take a break from everything and do something I enjoy, I actually took her advice.
Hello, ma'am.
ma'am,
Made
Can
myself
you hear us?
ma'am, can
I
you hear?
forgot to screen share.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
It's not shared?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I'm sorry. Where is it? I'll do it again. Sorry for that.
Okay, done.
Here.
You can't tell how someone feels just by looking at them or what they share online. To the outside world, our lives may look perfect, even if in reality they aren't. I'm always worrying about doing well at school, and with the end of year test coming up, I'm not sure how much longer I can cope. My thoughts swarm around my head, sometimes keeping me up all night. Some days it's just all too much, and I feel like I'm lost in space. When I did badly on one of my tests, I just about kept it together until I got home. Then I broke down crying in front of my mum. She listened for a bit, and then she told me that just like physical health, we all have mental health. It's our feelings, our thinking, our emotions, and our moods. She then said that feeling down, angry, and stressed is a normal part of life. Just like it's normal to feel happy, confident, and carefree sometimes. We all have positive and negative emotions that come and go based on what's happening around us. These are everyday feelings. Good mental health means experiencing negative emotions. It's not always about being happy. Mum can relate to the feelings of stress. So when Mum suggested I take a break from everything and do something I enjoy, I actually took her advice. So I made myself a hot chocolate, snuggled up in a duvet and watched a film. And you know what? Afterwards I felt so much better. Mum should take her own advice.
Most of us only ever share the good things. We don't like to share how we really feel. Every morning when I wake up, negative thoughts stream through my head. Getting out of bed and pretending I'm okay takes all the energy I have. As the day goes on, the negative thoughts turn from a stream into a river. The water rushes through my head so loudly it's hard to concentrate in lessons. And some days it's so bad it feels like a waterfall that's trying to pull me over the edge. Everything is so overwhelming. I didn't think my friends would understand if I told them how down I was feeling. But when Sasha opened up to me about how stressed she was feeling, I told her. I wasn't sure how to bring up how I'd been feeling, so I started by saying that I didn't feel like myself. Just her listening made me feel like she understood. She told me some things that had helped her, so I tried them too, but it didn't make much of a difference. Even when I tried to be around my friends, I felt alone. The things I used to enjoy weren't fun anymore.
I was really worried about Andre and not sure what to do. He was quiet and wasn't hanging out with us like he used to. So I asked our head of year for. He suggested I get Andre to speak to him since his negative feelings weren't going away.
I didn't want to speak to our head of year, but I also didn't want to keep feeling so down, so I went. He said that sometimes we have overwhelming feelings that can be more intense than our everyday feelings. These feelings hang around for a long time and change the way we feel, think, and behave. They can stop us doing what we want to in life. That's what I was going through. He also said that if we're physically unwell, we let people know, we ask for help. It should be no different with mental health. Sometimes our overwhelming feelings are brought on because of things in our life. Sometimes they happen for no reason at all. After hearing this, I felt much less alone and it felt good to talk. Scientists have found exercise can help when you're feeling low, so our head of year encouraged me to sign up to the school football club, which Sasha was already in. I still have days when the river is there, but now I'm beginning to understand my mental health. I'm learning how to cope. Our head of year reminded me that my friends, family, teachers, and lots of others at school are there to help just as much as he is. I had no idea the people around me could be so understanding. And while it's not always easy to talk about my mental health, the person I'm talking to might be able to help. If you don't feel like talking, that's fine. You could try writing, sports, reading, art, music, playing with your pet, whatever makes you feel better.
If you're the person someone talks to when they're struggling, just listen with no pressure or judgments. You don't have to have the answer. If you feel unsure about anything, you can speak to a trusted adult. Talking about mental health doesn't have to be difficult. After all, it's something we all have.
Okay, so that's like a short summary of what mental health is, but I will also continue to my slide so I could elaborate more and share to you what mental health is. So can you see now my slide? Okay, so positive mental health allows people to realize their full potentials, also cope with the stresses of life or daily life activities that we have because mostly, especially to students, to parents, daily life or routinary activities are also stressful in a way. Also, positive mental health allows people to work productively, they could work productively, have initiative, hardworking, also make meaningful contributions to their communities. So, so what does it allows people? Also, there are ways to maintain positive mental health. These include getting professional help if you need it. Although in this in our country here in the Philippines, there is still stigma, and maybe I believe in Asia as well. So getting professional help is really important. If you think that people are not listening to you, if you don't have a supportive friends or family, you could get a professional help. So you will be more attuned and have a good mental health rather than um, focusing on the negative thinking that you have. So professionals will help you to enlighten your thinking, to have a positive mental health, and to recognize your skills and your potentials as a person. Also, connect with others, connecting with people. So it is vital, it is essential to one's person or an individual to have a social life. Okay, so there is a saying that no one is an island. So that's true that we need other people as well. Okay, staying positive as possible, but not toxic positivity. We have to recognize all kinds of emotions, and those emotions are all okay. That's why there are sadness, worry, negative emotion or positive emotions as what we know, or in a layman's term. So all emotions are good. You have to acknowledge it. You don't have to say that you only entertain positive vibes or positive emotions lang. So you have to stay positive in a way that you recognize that having sadness, desperation, disappointment is a natural thing, or a natural emotions. Also, getting physical activity. So this is very also helpful, especially now in this pandemic, since we are not allowed to go outside. So people are getting fat, so unhealthy because they're eating too much or sitting too much. So you have to get a physical activity or doing an online exercise or do exercise at home if you are not allowed to go outside of your house. So physical activity helps our brain chemicals to balance. Also helping others. It is good that you have a good level of altruism and generosity in helping other people, maybe by spreading awareness, helping them to cope up, or helping them financially, or whatever help that you can do with them. So, and also getting enough sleep. This is very important. Sleep is important in our daily life, because if you don't have a good sleep, so there will be a imbalance in your chemical brain chemicals. So that's why when you don't have sleep, you usually a person will become irritated or easily anger because of not having enough sleep. Also developing coping skills on how you will cope with such failures or life problems that's happening to you. Okay, so mental health problems are common. This is common. Everybody is experiencing problems and mental health, or what we call mental health problems. Especially now that it's pandemic, so many people are stressed because of the economic status that they have. Many people have lost their job. Many students have stopped schooling because of this pandemic. Aside from the factor that they don't have enough money to have the online class, okay, and other things. It's common. It's everyone is having a problem in their daily life. But what is good is help is available. It's always available. So it is only you or us that hinders us to be helped. Okay. So people with mental health problems can get better. There is hope, and they can recover completely. So just to give you warning signs. You have to assess yourself. But of course, I want to encourage everyone who's listening that if you see or you read these presentations that I have, it is better that you consult a professional rather than doing self-diagnosis. Okay, so it's just a early warning sign. So if you know that you're having this feeling, so better consult a professional. So like eating or sleeping too much or too little. Also, pulling away from people and usual activities that you before you're active, and now you're not active anymore. You're not doing your exercise. You're not socializing with your friends. You're not even chatting to them. Okay, having low or no energy at all. You feel drained every day. Feeling numb or like nothing matters. Having unexplained aches or pain. Usually, you have like pain here in your shoulders that is like cause of stress. Okay, feeling helpless or hopeless. You feel that this pandemic will never end. That your life is nothing. Okay, so and also you start drinking or smoking or using drugs more than usual. Okay, also feeling unusual, confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, easily angry. Okay, upset, worried or worried too much and scared. Yelling or fighting with family and friends that you don't usually do. Experiencing severe mood swing that causes problems in relationships because maybe your family members don't understand that you're having mental health issues, so that's why you have severe mood problems that you wanted people around you to understand you. Also having persistent thoughts and memories you can't get out of your head. hearing voices or believing things that are not true, thinking of harming yourself or others, inability to perform daily tasks like taking care of your kids or getting to work or getting to school. It's like you don't want to go to school anymore. So these are the early signs, okay, that you can assess. If you have this maybe five 3 to 5 early signs, better consult a professionals, or if you don't have enough money to consult, maybe like what the video say, you can also ask your friends for someone who could help you, so they could have a better understanding of yourself. So as we are talking about, recovery is possible. Okay, so you could have a good mental health or positive mental health. So there are 4 dimensions of recovery. So these are health, home, purpose, and community. This is very important. So when we talk about health, so you make informed, healthy choices that support your physical and emotional well-being, because health is wealth. Okay, home or the family, or have a stable and safe place to live. Purpose, engage in meaningful daily activities such as job or school. So these are our meaningful activities, especially for the students. Okay, volunteering in a work, or doing like a found in a foundation, or having like this event, like what these students are doing. Caring for your family or being creative. Work for independence, income, and resources to participate in the society. So you became more purposeful when you know that you participate and you have engage in activities that will benefit the community. Also, in community, build relationship and social networks that provide support. Okay, so just to give you like some of the words that could uplift your spirit now. So like this one, give yourself the same care and attention that you give to others, and watch yourself bloom. You have to care for yourself first before caring to others, because how can you give something that you don't have? Always remember that if you don't love yourself, how can you love others? If you don't care about yourself, how can you care about others? So give yourself the same care. Also, don't be so hard on yourself. Everyone is having problems. It may seems in their Facebook account, in their Instagram, that they're having good times, but you really don't know what the situation is. You don't have, you cannot judge the picture itself, that if they focusing, or they having this the food, or they go outside the house, or because there's a now you here in the Philippines, you can now go to the restaurant, so you don't know the story behind that, and you don't know what's happening really to that person. So don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay to be not okay, and it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes will help us to be on the top, to be in the success. We could use these mistakes to learn more about ourselves, about our abilities, to explore more on the possibilities and opportunities that we could have. And mistakes doesn't mean that you're a failure. It will help you to gain more ability, to be more understanding, to be more patient. And on top of that, if you're successful in the future, so you know that how to make mistakes again, and you will not take it as a bad thing. Okay? And it's okay to have bad days. So all have bad days, guys. Even us psychologists, we have bad days. It doesn't mean that if we are psychiatrists and psychologists in or in the psychology field, so it doesn't mean that we don't have a bad days. We all have bad days. And it's okay to be less than perfect. No one is perfect. You don't have to be perfect. Just be you. And people will be more accepting and more happy if you don't pretend to be someone else. It's okay to do what's best for you, and it's okay to be yourself. So just a friendly reminder that doing your best, that doesn't mean working yourself to the point of mental breakdown. So if you know that you cannot do such thing, then don't do it. Don't push yourself so much and so hard. Okay. And also breathe. Take time to relax, to give a me time. Okay. It's just a bad day, but not a bad life. So also, mental health begins with me. It begins with you. It always begins with the person itself. So it doesn't begin to our mother who will support us, to our brother, to our siblings, or to our friends. It always begins with us. And also, before I end this presentation, so this is one of my favorite verse. So humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that the proper time He may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on Him because He cares for you. So this is just a short prayer, because meditating is also important. Today, we some don't recognize that meditation is important, but we have to, because we also have our soul or our spirit life or spirit well-being. So that's all. Maybe we could like go to the question and answer, and I give some summary of what mental health is.
Thank you, ma'am. That was an amazing presentation. I got to learn a lot, and it was a very sweet video which you played in the beginning. So,
Thank
should
you.
we start with the questions now?
Sure.
But before we begin with the questions, I would like to tell the audience that after each segment, we're going to open the floor for audience question for a few minutes. In case you're not comfortable, you can drop your questions in the chat section. And this interview is live as well as being recorded, and we're live on YouTube. In case you're not able to ask your questions during that segment, or you find some question later on, you can always ask it at the end of the interview. So we start with our first topic for today, that is suicidal thoughts and prevention. So our first question is, when does an individual begin to experience these thoughts and feelings, and how strong are they?
Okay. So when you're talking about suicidal thoughts or depression, um, people begin to experience having these thoughts and feelings when they have negative events that happen in their life. For example, maybe in general, this pandemic, many people, or most or some, or the people around the world are having negative thoughts because they have problems. Maybe they lose their job, they stop schooling. So this event in their lives makes them to think negatively how they will be in the future, and then so on and so forth. Okay, so we don't invalidate those feelings and those negative thoughts as possible, because it's not wrong to think about that way. And it's in some way also everyone is thinking that way. How will be our future? What is still be the new normal? Can we adjust to the new normal? So this suicidal thoughts or negative thoughts comes because of the situations that we are into. They are strong. It depends on the person. Some people dwell too much on the negative thoughts that they have, and then they have, if they have mental disorder or history of mental illness in the family. So the neurons or neurotransmitters are having chemical imbalance. So you cannot easily control it because it's a chemical imbalance. So however, if that is not a chemical imbalance, it is like it's you think that it's only you, then you have a past we call this you have control over what you can think or what you will not think. Okay, so that it depends on the person how strong it will be. It
Okay,
depends
so it
because
varies from people to people.
everyone is different.
Thank you, ma'am. So the next question we have is, if a person seems troubled, is it safe to ask if they're thinking about hurting themselves? Can asking increase the danger of suicide? Or how can we approach people who have mental health problems?
um, um, as possible, actually, those people who have suicidal thoughts, they are not verbal or not expressing it at all. They keep it to themselves. So it's very hard that, or for me, it's not, it could be safe if you think that you could ask that if you are hurting yourself, but rather observe the person, observe the behavior, observe everything that he or she does. Okay. Can asking increase the danger of suicide? Yeah. Most probably, depression or suicidal thoughts, it's very hard to identify because people who are experiencing depression did not tell it to anyone. Not because of stigma, they just don't want to tell it. They hide it, or they keep it there. They keep it on themselves. So the increase of danger of suicide, well, um, probably it depends on the situation really if that person will commit suicide or not. So we have to really like to consult a professional to know, because we have to do clinical interviews, such things, so we could identify if the client's really having suicidal thoughts or depression. And also for this, how can we approach people who have mental health problems? First of all, just listen to them. If you observe that your friend or your family member is having odd behaviors or have changed their behaviors, their thinking, the way they talk to you, so probably talk to them personally, not in public. That ask that what's your problem, blah blah blah, and then in the whole family, you could talk to them one on one, heart to heart, like that, and then do more of listening to them rather than speaking what's on your mind. Because these people who have mental problems, they want to be understood. They want someone who will listen to them and someone who will validate their feelings, not invalidate their feelings. So listening is very important. So if you have a family members that is suffering from mental issues or have mental issues, so listen to them rather than judge them and talk to them, talk to them that you don't stop like it's just in your head, it's okay, don't say, just listen more of, go listening to them. If you think that the problem is deeper and you cannot handle that's the time that you need to consult a professional.
Okay, so the best approach is to observe, talk it one on one, listen, and then if you feel it's out of your hands, then approach professional help. Okay.
Yes.
So next up we have, who is at greatest risk of suicide?
Suicide, as of now I don't have such data, but mostly in this generation, the teenager in this generation are in greater risk of the suicide. If I'm not mistaken, male are most prone to suicide than female.
Okay. Uh, Moving on. If a person has suicidal thoughts or is suspected of having them, then what steps must family members or people around them take to help them get rid of such thoughts if immediate professional help is unavailable?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like what I said earlier, if you think that your family members or your friends or your friend is having suicidal thoughts, so like what I said, you listen to them with their sentiments or problems. So you have to understand where they're coming from, also, and to avoid such suicide attempt. Okay, so hide those things that are sharp that he can use to do suicide. As bet professional help is not available, so you keep all the knives, the gun if you have that in the house, the medicine, everything that you could think of that he can do So that's the best thing, or the first thing that the family must do if they they think that the client or their family members is going to have or having suicidal thoughts.
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
then
I think we
later,
all.
yeah,
No,
and then
sorry.
later if available, the talk to the a professional.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I think we all will keep this in mind in case we ever face with such a situation. Next up, we have a similar question which you've already answered. So I would like to ask you, you first explained us about the warning signs. Like if it's more than five, then maybe we could consult someone or think someone is going through depression. The warning signs.
Yes, yeah, yeah. There are early warning signs that I tackled earlier. So if you know or if you are experiencing this early warning signs, so better talk to a friend if you can. If you think it's not that deep, but if you think that you can handle it anymore, so talk to a professional. So they could help you more, and so they can also teach you how to control your thoughts and your feelings.
Thank you. So now I think we can go on to the audience questions. So audience, please unmute yourself and ask your questions, or you can drop your questions in the chat box.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Actually, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes.
So I had a question as to what are the hidden signs of depression which might tell us that someone is suffering from it? Because a lot of times it's not obvious. Because people look happy, like you've already mentioned, people look happy on Instagram and Facebook, but they're not actually like it. So can we look for signs?
Signs of depression. Okay.
Right.
So there are symptoms. We're talking about symptoms of depression. So depression is really hard to identify, but there are symptoms that you can observe to someone or to yourself, like feelings of hopelessness and helplessness. Okay, eating or eating too much or too little, having low self-esteem, suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideations. That's the one major symptoms that you can see to a person who's suffering from mental illness. And of course low level of energy, like what we're talking about, that before that person is active and then later on he or she has a low energy, doesn't want to do the activity anymore, don't socialize anymore, then later on having or hiding or having the suicidal ideation or thoughts in his head, and more on negative. They talk more on the negative side of life or what they're experiencing, rather than acknowledging their abilities to cope up with the problems. Also helplessness, hopelessness, and suicidal ideation for depression.
Okay, that was, I think, yeah, I can like relate to what people keep saying, and it actually makes sense now that you've explained it. Also, I really enjoyed your presentation. It was very it was very easy for us to understand, not at all difficult. So, thank you so much.
Next question. So, ma'am, I had a
Hello, ma'am.
question for you. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening. So I have a question. That is, if one of the members of a family has a mental disorder, then how can that negatively impact the other family members living with them? Or how can we ensure that we do not get negatively affected if someone around us or close to us is suffering from a mental disorder?
That's a good question. To be honest, when a person or one member of the family has mental illness, it is impossible that they will not get affected, since mental health problems or issues are in our country or in your country is still an issue or has a stigma, then definitely it will always have an impact to every member of the family, especially if that family members or family unit don't have awareness or don't know what mental health problem is, then they could not understand why this person or why this daughter or their son is behaving that way. So it will always have an impact to the family members, and because of not having awareness of what mental health is, because it's very important that you know what mental health problems are. So if you have that, if you undergo psychoeducation, so probably you could understand and accept that one family member is having problems with their mental health. Acceptance is also important within the family. It's like having a cancer within the family. If one of your member in the family has a cancer, definitely you do sympathize. You feel sad about them. Okay. Uh, However, when someone has a mental issue, you don't feel sad. You feel confused. You don't know how it happened, why it happens, and you think that the person has a great control over their emotion when that person doesn't have a control. So it's very hard to understand because mental health problems is really like broad, and it's hard to understand, and you really have to learn and be more accepting on the reality that this person is having mental health issues.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. So those were some amazing audience questions. Next up, we have Aditi.
Good evening, ma'am, once again. And ma'am, I must say you have really explained these segments very well, and those videos were amazing. And I hope our audience really loved it and will implement all those things in our life. So now let's move on to our further segment, that is day-to-day stress. So as we all know, we adults, maybe teenagers or kids, not exactly kids, but especially adults and teenagers, we all are familiar with the word stress, and it might be financial, it might be any kind of stress. So now we have to think ki, how should, it's very important how to deal with such situations. So our next question said, we will see those things in detail ki how can we deal with the day to day stress. So let's move towards the questions. Our first question is, what basic activities do you think add on to our daily stress? Can anyone be held responsible for it, or is the person himself leading accumulation of the stress in his or her daily life?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, everyone is every day we face problems, we face stress. It depends on the person how she or he will deal on it. We have daily routine activities, right? You wake up in the morning, you take a bath, you go to school, or you do the online school. Okay, but when an emergency came or happens, then that stress comes in. Like, for example, you don't have a good internet connection, it stresses you. Okay. But however, you could be somewhat held responsible if you can control yourself, focusing on the things that you can control and the things that you cannot control. What are the things that you can control? And what are the things that you cannot control? Those things that you cannot control are those like out of your hand, like the behavior of other people, how they will react on you, how they will say things on you, how this internet will come into you. Okay, factors that out of your hand. What are the things that you can control? The things that most that you can control is yourself. How will you react to that person who say bad things to you? How will you act? You will react on that no internet connection thing. Are you going to get stressed, irritated, or just like, okay, I don't have internet now, so maybe could have like do other things aside from having this, although online class is important. Okay, handling daily day-to-day stress is is part of our living. It's part of our planning, daily planning activities. Okay, so if that thing happened, an emergency happens, and then you get stressed with it, so you can be responsible in a way. You can control yourself, how you will deal with it, how will you accept it, how will you react on it. This was the basic activities. Sorry, basic activity, actually there's no basic activities, but the if you have routine work, and then that routine, then an activity comes in that is not on the list, okay, an emergency, okay, then you get stressed. Like for example, um you lost something when you are in the mall, you get stressed, okay. There are things, of course, that stresses us more, like family problems, of course, that you don't have it every day. Okay, so it could be a factor also.
Okay. Very well explained, ma'am. And the sentence, especially which you said, ki what you can control is yourself. That was really amazing. It was really good. So moving on, second question is quite relatable for all of us, and you have answered a bit of it, but it's more specific here. That how do you handle stress at work? There are instances we cannot counter what boss orders or says or blames. So even though you're not necessary at faults, so how do we deal with such situations?
Yeah, actually, stress at work. Everybody is stressed at work. Even your boss is stressed at work, or even stressed at school. Okay, like what I said earlier, there are things that you can control and you cannot control. You cannot control your boss. Okay, your boss reactions to how you do your work, or your teacher, how he will respond to your project, to your assignments. So you cannot control that. But you can control how you will accept that statement, and how you give feedback to what that person is saying to you. So there is like this instance that which is normal. If your boss is angry to you, usually a person will be angry also. Okay, so there will be a conflict, and then the relationship will have or trouble, or there will be misunderstanding. But what if you do it differently? Like if your boss is angry, you accept that you have done something wrong, or done it, like you see that you have like a fault why your boss or your teacher says certain things, then you could like have a more patient or more polite response to them. Then you'll see that person will also be like a lilo, will not have a raised voice to you, and will not do it again, that next time that you'll not do your job properly, then he will not shout at you anymore, or not be angry to you anymore. So it's better that you always, like when someone is angry or in high emotions, negative emotions, so just keep it low. Keep yourself low. Keep yourself calm. Talk to yourself that you will not respond as the way he or she is responding, rather than talk it out, showing your your madness to that person. So it will create conflict. And also, there's no such thing as a perfect workplace, perfect school. There is always conflict in every situation, in every company, in every school. So you have to accept that whatever job that you have right now, be thankful that you have that job. Be thankful that you have that school. You have that teacher. You have that boss. In all those mistakes, like what I said, take that as a learning steps, a step that will move you further and to the success that you will be in the future. So use all experiences as a learning point, as an like what I done in personally. So whenever I had mistakes, like simple mistake, like maybe like driving or having out other routine that that focuses me on the traffic. So I just enjoy the not the traffic, but enjoy myself being alone, not getting stressed to the topic, so that using listening to the music more rather than focusing on the topic itself. So I just like having a me time while the topic is on. Okay, so it's like also that you always use those negative circumstances to make your life more easier in a way that you think of the positive things that it may bring you.
Okay. That was really a great explanation, ma'am. And I hope this will be really helpful for our audience and for us, because we all are going to face this at some point in our lives. So that was really a good, and you explained everything with examples. So that's really great. So now moving on to the next question. There are ways you can alleviate stress by doing various activities when we feel frustrated and stressed. But at the same time, if we do not have time for those activities and we need some instant relief, say during an exam or a meeting, so how do you think this situation can be handled, or what advice do you give to someone in that situation?
So are we in question number 3 or question number 4?
Fourth one.
At times that people vent out frustration to their loved ones. In psychology, we call it defense mechanism. We call it displacement. Okay. You vent your negative emotion, your anger, your madness to someone who is subordinate than you are, or not dominant than you are. So we call it displacement. For example, you we'll just like explain it. Displacement in a way, maybe a lot of people actually do this one, displacement, but you don't know it's called displacement in psychology. So it's a defense mechanism. So like for example, your teacher is mad at you, or say bad things to you, and of course you cannot get angry to your teacher anyway. So and then because you are still mad, you cannot move on from that situation when you're at home and your little sibling came to you and asked you for help. You easily get mad at him or her because you are the dominant person, and of course that child cannot or your little sibling cannot be mad at you in verse. So what happened is that child or that little siblings that you have, so because her sister or her brother is mad at him, so the subordinate being at him could be a pet. So he would maybe kick the pet or do something bad on the pet, and then the pet is like do something bad on the subordinate one. So it's always happen like in the work when your boss is angry to you and you cannot get back angry to him, and then this person will be the employee will be mad to his or his her wife or her husband, and then the husband will get mad to the child, and the child will get mad to the little ones, and the little ones get mad to the to the pet. So it's a displacement. They always bend out, and it's usual that you bend out. But however, if you learn to understand yourself, to understand the people around you, you bending out will be like less necessary to you, because you understand where they coming from and why they are mad, It's not because of you. Maybe if there's something that's happening to them, you really have to understand out, and you have to really like to know how to control your emotions, either being so happy or being so sad, being so angry. So controlling our emotions very important. So that's how we could respond properly, maybe properly to that person or politely to them. So like what I said earlier, like the boss, so if he or she is mad, then you could be like polite at him, then you could have a better relationship at times. Because one of my friend told me that before, his boss and him is always fighting or having argument, and then later on someone advises him to have a different reaction to that kind of madness or angriness. Then later on, the relationship became better, because that the other person become more understanding and patient. Now, what is the second question? Sorry.
It's fine. We have last question of this section, and that's related to COVID-19 pandemic. But we have already discussed it previously. So, do you want me to ask it again, or should we continue further?
Okay. You can
Should
ask
we?
it.
Okay, fine. So the question is, how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected the mental health of people all over? In what way can we, at personal level, make sure we are not affected? And what can we do to get it better if we are already disturbed?
Okay, so yeah, everyone is affected by this pandemic or mental health. Especially I think the poor people and also our government officials, they get so stressed with this pandemic. Okay, but most likely to the to my country, I believe that people are get affected, yung mga um the poor people, because some of them don't have means to live by day. And many people have lost their job, not I believe not only in the Philippines but also in other country, because we have a lot of private companies that's running off, not only in the government settings. Okay, so like the hotels, the casinos, there are a lot of people who are employed in the casinos, in a hotel, and people are of course not allowed to go outside, or even our tourism is low. Okay, that's why our economic is really affected, and the economic also affect our mental health, because we cannot eat if you don't have means of buying things. Okay, that's why it's you have to realize now that in my personal opinion, it's really difficult that you are poor, and those poor don't have that such privilege to do well in life, and also like this pandemic. Okay, so that's why I am happy that our governments are helping these people, and those private institutions are helping them. So of course they're mental, they become, most are getting depressed or so sad about the situations, because they lost their job and their children cannot go to school anymore because of the pandemic. Okay, and then also the worriness or the stress that you don't know if you have COVID-19 or not, because you cannot see it physically, right? Unless you have symptoms, or if you have as we have it asymptomatic. So it's also stressful, because I was also in quarantine, and I was also get stressed because I don't know if I got COVID-19, and I have children. We all have families. So when a person have a COVID-19, of course, it may affect our family members, and that what is what we are worried about most. So that's why everyone is like affected. No one is exempted to this COVID-19 pandemic mental health issues that we have. So like we care for everyone, and everyone has a little sibling, and the older parents and the grandparents. That's why it's very stressful. And also when coming back to the school, it's also stressful having this new normal of meeting online, that seeing your classmates. It's really like difficult. Although we talk online like this one, it's really different when we socialize and we see each others and having social gathering. So because it's not normal, and every person now in our world is being sociable, right? So many people like to travel, to explore things, and yet because of this pandemic, our plans are canceled. We cannot see our classmates, we cannot see our loved ones. Some loved ones or family members are locked up in that country, so it's very hard. Everyone is affected. So how can we get better if already distributed? Actually, you really have to have good mindset and believe that any problems as possible you can surpass it. um, there are no problems that cannot be solved. Okay, I
Yes.
believe that even this COVID-19, whatever it is, if it's self-made or whatever it is, it can be cured. It will have always an answer. It may take some time, yeah, but the thing, if we could realize, in the past years, like 1955, it takes them like 5 years to have a vaccine, but because of our technology nowadays, so I believe maybe in 2021 we'll have the vaccine, and people and the government is funding the researches for the vaccine, and that's good. That's good. That's a good sign. And people have become more disciplined and cooperative. Unlike before, parang they don't have like knowledge about what these diseases are. So that's it. So we I believe that everyone could be hopeful in this situation, and let's always try to be more inability to cope up, to surpass any negative things in our lives, because every day we could have like a bad day and a different problems. Everyone, even us psychologists, we have we have our own problems to deal with. And it's good that we are also open. Our psychologists are also open, helping each other, because we cannot help ourselves on our own. But it's just an advantage that we study psychology and we are a psychologist. We know how to handle things. Okay, that's why we are happy whenever we are invited in such event, that we could share our knowledge and how we could share to you how you can cope up with things like this.
Yes, yes, ma'am. That was an excellent answer. And all of us, like our audience, each and everyone was really very stressful during this pandemic. It was like all of a sudden change in our daily routine. Like yesterday we used to go out, and today suddenly we all have to stay home. So it really takes time to cope up with all this. But yeah, as you said, we should keep hopes. That's the point. Do we have any audience questions for this?
I would just like, while others are asking or are thinking about a question, I would like to add that if you are seeking a professional, a psychiatrist or psychologist, it doesn't mean that's you're a failure. Okay, it's normal. It's like you're having physical illness. You consult a doctor, so better consult also a professional if you have mental problem. It doesn't mean that it's you're a failure already. Okay, because there are different factors that contribute to mental health of everybody, and not everybody is the same, like someone who have a better coping mechanism, or have a more positive attitude, or have a good um, chemical balance that you have, because everyone is different. That's why it's okay, and we want to normalize that consulting a psychiatrist and psychologist. It's okay, because we also consult like each other. like last year I had like a problem in my brain physically, so I had to consult a neuropsychiatrist, and he says that I am overstressed, and I had a lot of activity which I did not see it through because I was so like busy. And then later when I had a conversation with him, so I like this to pay attention on what matters to me, and I really have to lessen my activity, but I didn't do it anyway. Because so busy, and I really want to have people, but I'm glad that I don't have that what do you call this, like a mild stroke, or a blood, something like a blood clot. I don't know what is it. So it's okay, it's normal, and I don't feel shy that I talk to a psychiatrist, because it helps us. It's like seeing ourselves in a different eye, in a different perspective. At times we keep on seeing things, we are so focused that we lose to see what's happening to ourselves, and that is important, that someone is helping you and guiding you.
Yes, definitely. So now we'll move on to our last segment, and I request to each and every one of among our audience to listen this one carefully, because this is very important segment. So the further topic is misconceptions. And the first question which we have, ma'am, you have already answered it right now. It was seeking mental health assistance is an indicator of failure. So you have already answered it now. So we'll just move on to the second question. That is, taking medication for mental health will alter your personality.
Okay. Taking medication for mental health will alter your personality. Your personality is your personality. Okay. So what alter you is your behavior, your chemical imbalance. If you have chemical imbalance, these medicines for our brain will help us balance our chemicals. Okay, that's why it alter your behaviors, how you behave. So of course, if you have observed a person who is severely or have schizophrenia, having delusion and hallucination, when giving medication, and they have proper sleep, so it's like nothing happens to them, but their personality is still the same. It will not alter, it will help them. It could be have side effects, but I believe that it's more helpful to, if the psychiatrist really recommend you to take such medicine, then do so. They will not give you those medicine if you don't have to. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So our next question is, people with schizophrenia have a split personality. It's one type of misconception. So what would you like to say about this one?
Yeah. People with schizophrenia have a split personality. Way back a long time ago, they thought that if you have a schizophrenia, you have a split personality, because it's very confusing, especially to the newbies who study psychology. It's really confusing because it's like it's almost the same symptoms. It's very hard to identify. But if you like to study well what's the difference between schizophrenia and split personality, then you will identify that that two is a separate mental disorder. It's not the same. It's a different. It's split personality, or now it's called dissociative personality disorder. What you before kasi it's called split, then now it's dissociative personality disorder. So it's different from schizophrenia. If a person has schizophrenia, is having hallucination and delusions, any type of hallucinations and delusion. When a person has a split personality, he or she doesn't have any hallucination and delusion. That's a really another personality, another persona in the same person. Maybe you could like watch the film. The latest is the Split. I don't know who's the actor, but it's a good film that you will understand what split personality is. Although there is like a superb ending with it, but it's a good film that you could like know that, oh, okay, it's a split personality disorder.
Okay, ma'am. That was a good explanation. Now, the further question and the further misconception is that children don't experience mental health problems.
Children don't experience mental health problems. They also experience, but rarely they recognize it, of course, and really parents would think that these children have mental health problems. But I believe children, especially even this pandemic, they get stressed. Okay, because same with us, their activities are cut off. They cannot go outside, they cannot go to mall that they usually do. They also get stressed, and I observe that with my children. Although at first you have to really to educate the child what COVID-19 is. It's just a virus and it's very spreading rapidly to the society, to the community, and to avoid the spread, you have to be at home, to do quarantine. So they understand it, but later on, like 2 months, 3 months, they're in the house, so they cannot go to the mall. They said, when will this COVID-19 end? They keep on saying that I want to go there, I want to go that, I want to have that activity, I want to see my classmate, like what we usually do or think that we want to get back to the normal thing. So that's why children also get stressed. Okay, it's not it's a misconception that they don't get stressed. Especially those children who are very sociable and they keep on asking, when will I go outside this place, this house? My children, speaking of that, they get stressed. They said that they are verbally expressive to me, and that's good because they said that it's boring here. It's boring here in our house. We cannot do anything. I'm bored watching YouTube, playing this thing. So as a parents, I also have to do some activities that will keep them active and not bored. But of course, it's always not enough because going outside is also important. And I know some parents also do that. So it's a misconception. They also get stressed and they also have mental problems, but rarely.
Yeah, actually. And
Ma'am,
yeah.
I had a related question to it. So, as a parent, how can we ensure that there's a safe space at home so that children or children who've reached puberty can come and share their mental health problems with them?
Yeah, as a parent, since I had the advantage, I am a parent and I'm a psychologist, so I do talk a lot of them. Personally, one by one, I asked them how they day was, especially when I had to go at work, when we are allowed to go back to work to our center. So I asked them how their day was, what they do, how they feel, what they want, what their if there are any things that happen in the house that I don't know. I always keep telling them that mommy is always open. You can share anything to me. And as a parents, I believe that um, you can always do that to your children. Always be open. One thing that is good to everyone that should learn is not to judge a person, even what age it is. Okay, is it's a child, a teenager, an adult? Don't judge them. If they tell you something, just listen, accept it. Then don't invalidate their feelings. That feelings is negative. Just listen to them and talk to them and try to explain things to them because these children are very vulnerable. Okay, so that's why we have to protect these children and tell them things that they should know, the truth, rather than saying na no, you cannot understand it because you're still young. No, actually, children nowadays are smarter and intelligent. I believe that they can understand these things that's happening in
Yes.
our own country. Like there are more techie than I am. So like my children is now, I have twins that is 5 years old. They now know how to use a laptop because of this pandemic. Okay, that if I compare it to to my generation. I because like I used to have computer class when I was in grade school already, but they are in kinder. So they can catch up easily. Children are smart and they can understand. It is only the parents who need to explain things and explain properly to them, so you could like avoid misconception, and this explanation will also bring bondness and understanding to each other. It's like also giving them security, safe place, okay, protection, that I have this parent, I have this mother, I have this father who understands me, okay, and that's very important.
Yeah, I hope the question is answered. Sunny. Okay.
Yes, thank
Now,
you, ma'am. It was very well explained.
yeah. So now we have another question. Does society shape the misconceptions on mental health?
Yeah, society shape the misconception of mental health. If our society or our community is more open about mental issues, then it could shape better our mental health system. It will start on a law. Like in here in the Philippines, we have mental health law, and hoping that on the future, on the next years to come, so we will implement more of what what the law says. So it will bring spread awareness to the people and accepting and lessening the stigma of mental illness. So yeah, it somehow shaped the mental health in our society.
Okay. So we are done with questions. We have an audience question here. It says ki the do people with mental illness like borderline personality disorder appear dangerous or are they normal to talk?
What do you mean by the
Uh,
people women is like this?
yeah, it's
Dangerous.
in chat.
It could be it depends. There are of course borderline personality that are they not dangerous. It's like there are like normal people, but when you get along with them, you see that there's something wrong with how they will deal with someone or with you. Okay. Or are they normal to talk to? Yeah, if a person is a borderline personality disorder, try to talk to him or her normally, rather than labeling that person that he or she has a borderline personality. When you label someone, it's like you're having giving them a stigma. You are saying that they are different from you. Okay, that's why you have to talk to them normally, rather than appearing to be scared when talking to them because you think that they are dangerous. It depends on the situation. Okay, I cannot tell when or where that person could be dangerous to himself or to other people.
Okay, so we are done with all the questions set as well as audience set. And ma'am, once again, you have really explained all the questions. You have cleared all the doubts very well. And I hope each and every one of us, our audience, will implement everything you said. So I would like to thank ma'am for accepting our request and coming on fourth episode of Talk XX. Project XX is very grateful to you, and we have learned a lot from today's session, and we'll continue this relationship, and you can guide us in this eventful journey of ours. Also, all our audience, thank you for watching and tuning in with us. We are honored by your presence, and this episode will be also presented on our YouTube channel along with other Talk XX episodes. So you can watch any time and you can clear any kind of misconceptions, or if you need any kind of information, you can just refer to the video. So stay tuned, guys, for more just events, and good night, goodbye. Thank you once again, ma'am. It was really helpful.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.